Namaste children. Today we will start with the new topic, that is respiration. What is respiration? Respiration means the process of releasing energy from the food, that is known as respiration. And how the energy that is produced from the food? By the process of the oxidation. Now what is this oxidation process? In this what happened? The food plus oxygen, okay, means when the oxygen it reached the cells, then the oxidation of the food it will occur, and then it produces the carbon dioxide, water and energy, and this energy it is stored in the form of ATP molecules. Okay, now there is one more term, that is breathing. So what is the difference between the breathing and the respiration process? So breathing, it is a physical process. Okay, why it is known as physical? Because it involves only the inhaling of the oxygen and the releasing of the carbon dioxide. It involves only the lungs that are involved in this portion. Now next is respiration. Respiration, it means that when the oxygen it will reach the lungs, then through the blood it will transport it to the cells, and in those cells where the mitochondria that are present, where the oxidation of food occurs, and then it produces the energy and carbon dioxide. Now this carbon dioxide it will be reached back to the lungs, and from where it will be exhaled out. Okay, so it means that respiration it involves the breathing process also. So respiration it involves breathing also, but breathing it occurs only in case of lungs, means still the lungs. How? As the oxygen that will be inhaled by the nostrils, and from the nostrils it will come in the trachea region, and from the trachea it will reach to the lungs through bronchi and then bronchioles. Okay, so after that, after lungs, then the respiration process that will be followed, means that oxygen it will be transferred to the cells, where what happened, the oxidation of food occur and the energy that is produced. Now this energy which is produced in this reaction, it is stored in the form of ATP molecules. Now what is this ATP molecules? These are adenosine triphosphate molecules. So whenever the cell it requires the energy, at that time what happen, these ATP molecules they will get break down to produce the ATP phosphate plus energy. It means the energy that is stored, that is present in the bonds of the ATP molecule. As in case of ATP, there are three phosphate molecules that are present. Three phosphate molecules. And these bonds, means the bonds which are present in between the phosphate molecules, that are very high energy bonds. So as when the ATP molecules they will get break down, then it releases the energy. And this energy it will be used in the various further processes. Now what is this ADP here? ADP, it means adenosine diphosphate. This D it is representing the di here. It means only two phosphate molecules that are present. But what happens when the ADP it will get break down? So when ADP it will get break down, then it will form AMP, that is adenosine monophosphate. Adenosine monophosphate plus phosphate, means one inorganic phosphate that is present, plus energy. So only one phosphate that will be released here, and here only one phosphate that is present, so that's why it is known as AMP. And here there are two pi, means two phosphate molecules that are present. Now next we will discuss about the types of the respiration. So there are two types of respiration. First, that are aerobic respiration, and second, that are anaerobic respiration. In case of aerobic respiration, it uses the oxygen, and anaerobic respiration, it occurs in the absence of oxygen for producing the energy. Aerobic respiration, it occurs in the mitochondria of the cells. As we discussed that respiration, it means the oxidation of the food which produces the energy. So the oxidation of food, it occurs in the mitochondria. Okay, so mitochondria that are considered as the sites for the aerobic respiration. So now let's discuss one by one both the kinds of respiration. First, that are aerobic respiration, which uses the oxygen. In this case, what happened? The glucose that is converted into two pyruvate molecules. How it occurs? Because glucose, what is the formula for glucose? That is C6H12O6, and here 6 carbon atoms that are present. And if suppose we'll talk about pyruvate, so one pyruvate, that is CH3COOH. So it means 1, 2, 3. So 3 carbon atoms that are present. So that's why one glucose molecule, it is responsible for the formation of 2 pyruvate molecules, because here 6 carbon atoms that are present and here 3 carbon atoms that are present. So these 2 pyruvate molecules, in the presence of the Krebs cycle in mitochondria, in the presence of oxygen, it will be converted into 6CO2 plus 6H2O plus 38 ATP molecules. So why a large considerable amount of energy that is produced here? Why? Because the complete breakdown of the food, it will occur here. And if suppose we'll talk about the anaerobic respiration, so anaerobic respiration, it occurs in the absence of oxygen. It occurs in the absence of oxygen. So first is that in yeast. In yeast also the anaerobic respiration, it occurs, and this is known as the fermentation process. This is known as fermentation process. In this case, what happened? Glucose, when the glycolysis it occur, it will convert it into 2 pyruvate molecules. If suppose you will compare these steps, so till here, what happened? The glucose, it will convert it into the pyruvate molecules in the presence of the glycolysis process. Glycolysis, it is a 10-step process. So in that, what happened? Glucose, it will convert it into 2 pyruvate. So similar, that is the case here also, that glucose, it will convert it into 2 pyruvate molecule. But after that, what happened? That in the absence of oxygen, it will be converted into ethanol, that is C2H5OH, ethanol plus 2CO2 plus 2 ATP. So here the end product, that is ethanol here. So what is the end product in the fermentation reaction here? That is ethanol, and very small amount of energy that is produced. So what is the reason that why a small amount of energy that is produced? Because of the partial breakdown of the food that is not completely oxidized. So that is the reason. Now next, in case of muscles, so when during physical exercise, during the vigorous physical exercise, what happens? That in case of muscles, the anaerobic respiration, it occurs. Okay, in that case, glucose, it will convert it into 2 pyruvate molecule in the presence of glycolysis, and then these pyruvate molecules, in the absence of oxygen, it will be converted into lactic acid. As you know that when the lactic acid, it will get accumulated in our muscles, then cramps that occur. Okay, so cramps that occurs because of the accumulation of the lactic acid that is produced during the anaerobic respiration, and plus 2 ATP molecules. So if suppose we will discuss about the aerobic and anaerobic respiration, means we summarized the points of aerobic and anaerobic respiration. So what are the differences between the two? Like first is aerobic respiration, it occurs in the presence of oxygen and it occurs in the absence of oxygen. Okay, and if suppose we will talk about we will talk about the end products. So what are the end products in case of the aerobic respiration? So these are the carbon dioxide, water plus energy, and here ethanol in case of fermentation process, and lactic acid in case of physical, means during vigorous physical exercise, the lactic acid that is produced. Okay, and if we will talk about the energy, so energy is 38 ATP molecules. Around 38 ATP molecules means a considerable amount of energy that is produced in case of aerobic respiration. But in case of anaerobic respiration, only 2 ATP molecules that are produced. It means very less amount of energy. So what is the reason behind that? Because here complete oxidation of food it will occur, and here partial breakdown of the food it will occur. So that is the reason. So that's all for today.